Hello guys, one more episode of It's a DARMAR. I'm back from Malta. Trojan horse was a unicorn, had an incredible experience, and today I brought somebody else who was on a trip also with Wacom. His name is Mike Thompson. He has been working as a digital sculptor and illustrator for Marvel, Disney, Nike, and many other great clients. And today we're gonna talk about his amazing work. Hi Mike. I'm doing great. How about you? You are tired, yeah, I can imagine. So, as I said, you were on a trip with Wacom for 2 weeks around South America. How did that happen, man?
Webinars, and we kind of built up a relationship. So I've been using their tablets and stuff forever, and so they asked me to go on the South American tour because of my Marvel work, to
Okay,
go speak to like the students in these different art colleges, and it was pretty dope actually. Yeah,
I can imagine. You were
yeah,
all over the place.
yeah, definitely. Went to Mexico, Peru, Colombia, and Argentina. I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries. Yeah,
Yeah,
and so yeah, that's a lot of traveling, man. That's going from one place to another.
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. But it was great though. I'd never been to any of those places, so it was really dope. Really cool.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice to hear that. So, how did the students accept you? I saw your name all over the place in social media, so it was fun to see it. How were the students? How did they accept everything, and what did
Oh,
they like the most?
they were so cool. So they were really enthusiastic everywhere I went, and it was great. Like everybody just wanted to know. Basically, everybody was asking the same questions. How did you end up, getting introduced to Marvel, and how did you go from drawing as a kid to turning it into a career, and things like that. So yeah, no, everybody was really really cool.
I see.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? How did it all start? Where did it all start? And so, did you study before?
Yeah, so I went to University of Maryland. I'm from the Washington D.C. area, went to University of Maryland, College Park. I actually grew up drawing. I would get as a reward for good grades. My dad would bring home comic books,
Okay.
and so I would I'd read them, and then I'd draw like the superheroes in there. And so I just kept doing that, and then he started bringing home comic books that had heroes that were people of color, like the Falcon and War Machine and Luke Cage and stuff like that. So that really got me excited. And I just kept doing it. Went to college and started with T-shirts. I got out of school and worked with a company that was a young men's brand that I was working on their T-shirts and later their ads, and then that kind of spiraled into more work. So
So your dad was supportive. I love Falcon, man. It's one of my favorite characters from Marvel. I love him, like his wings and everything. How they
yeah,
represented him. He's super dope, man.
definitely. Yeah, I'm a big fan too, man. Yeah,
And we can see.
definitely. Yeah. So just a little something I'm working on right now. I don't know why my mouse is not working. Oh, there it is. There's the thing. Yeah. So yeah, man. I actually took this piece with me, this Black Panther that I started. So I also do a ZBrush live stream, and I started this right before I left. So just kind of detailed it a little more on my trip. This is not the most recent version, but kind of shows you where they start from.
Yeah, I'm always interested to see how digital sculptors work because I'm not a digital sculptor and I admire your work because you also pose the character and there is so many details happening on the character.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to ask somebody who is skilled as you and works on such a high quality of the work, what is the hardest thing to do when you're working a digital sculpt for you?
So the hardest thing for me is the pose, really. The anatomy is not so difficult. I mean, I've got things to help me with that. So, I went and bought one of these Andrew Carr statues, and so, I have all the reference I could possibly need to make sure that the anatomy is kind of good.
Yeah.
But the pose is the thing. So I have a friend named Brad who is an animator, and he helped me kind of push the pose so that it's more dynamic. And really, that's it. Like, you could have somebody that looks like amazing. The anatomy could be right. It could be a cool character. And if their pose is kind of boring or just static, nobody cares about it. So that's it.
True. I've been doing characters, and the biggest problem for me is also posing. I hate it. I will honestly say it. I hate posing characters. Like,
Yeah.
like, man, it's so hard. It's so hard to do it. Like,
Yeah.
this design for me is easy. I can do that always, but posing, it's a different thing, different story, literally.
Definitely. Yeah.
And what kind of process do you use while you're working on a sculpture? You start with a basic mesh, you sketch over it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so what I'll do normally is like I will have something that this initially was like just a regular base mesh, and I went in and started working up the muscles. And I like to break the symmetry early, so I don't spend a whole lot of time on it. I just need it for it to be good enough. Then I pose it in ZBrush, and usually when I do that, it'll get a little wonky. Like this was the initial pose, I think, and then I went in and started kind of just detailing it more and more until I got to the stage where it looked like this. And even this is still kind of mushy, right? Like, it's still got a lot of soft forms. I'll go in and really detail that until it gets to the point where it's, super detailed.
Yeah.
So like, this is an in-between stage, really. The other one you saw had the skin pores and stuff. This is just me kind of figuring out the muscles.
How many polygons does that beast have? 13 million, if I can see good.
Yeah, so this one is 13 total. I think his body is like almost 5. So it's not super high at this point. Now, when I go and start adding the skin pores and the high frequency detail, like, then it turns up. So like, this is almost 19 right here. But it kind of has to have that. But when you zoom in to like his hand, you can see that like all that pore detail is there.
Yeah, that's some crazy amount of details. Crazy. Look at this. Oh my God, that is insane. Ala, by the way, your hands look really, 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 really good.
Oh, thanks, bro. Thank you, man.
Artists mostly struggle with hands, and I guess you don't.
No, I definitely did. Like, hands were always super hard for me. Hands and faces. It was funny because I could never do either one until college. And then, I just kept doing it and doing it. You know how they do they say you do the 10,000 hours or something, and you start to, it clicks and you figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. I like to tackle the things that are hardest for me. And I noticed that I get better at it. So like, if you look, I don't know, maybe like 3 years back, even my anatomy was really suspect. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't necessarily right. I would post on Facebook and get all these, I like to call them anatomy Nazis, that would just tear me up. So I was like, I don't want to get, bombed out on the internet. So I would just go and practice until I got it down.
Yeah. I like how you call them Nazis, because they are everywhere, for different kind of stuff when it comes to art. I see on the top quality artists, they even get some hate comments and stuff like that about their work, which is insane to me. Like, do you understand on which skill this is? Like, they can judge it for something so minor and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, so when I was in Argentina, one of the best things about this trip is I got to meet somebody who I'm a big fan of, Daniel Bell. And so we hung out. He came to one of my lectures, and then we went out to dinner and hung out. And he's like a super cool guy, like really, really cool dude. And, we were talking about his pieces. So one of the pieces he just came out with was Flash. And it's dope. Like, it's really kinetic, and like, it's super stretched out and just looks like the Flash is flying at you. And people were just giving him a hard time because the initial pictures they took of that were, I think they used the camera kind of settings that they had made it look elongated. And so, they were giving him a hard time. I'm like, this dude is one of the best anatomy like sculptors I've ever seen. So it doesn't matter.
Always someone will critique it. We have when it comes to anatomy, I'm always surprised how you can bend it and stuff like that and hide it literally, which for me was always surprising. For example, we have there is a statue from like 100 years ago here in Belgrade, and it was one of the best lessons for me. My history teacher took us there, and we were looking at it, and from bottom it's on a pedestal that is like 20 meters in the sky, and it looks perfect, like perfect everything. But then he showed us the photo of it from when you are up close. It is all distorted. He is stretched. The artist made it so it looks good from the bottom and from the airplane, but rest no.
Oh, it's smart though. Yeah,
Smart.
because I bet you if the proportions were right and you're looking at it like up, it would probably look really kind of weird.
Yeah, true. There are many tricks in the art that we are not even aware of, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, man.
And you worked for Marvel, you worked for Nike, you actually still do, I apologize. How did that happen that you got to Marvel?
Sure. So I happened to be at it was a New York Comic Con, and I was working at the Wacom booth doing, I think I was working on my Ninja Turtle, and just doing a presentation, and the Marvel booth was right behind me. So I was there for a few hours, and one of the guys came over and introduced himself to me and gave me a card, and I was like, oh man. So he's like, listen, if you're ever interested in doing any work or anything, give us a holler. Do you hear that? I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, he was like, give us a holler. So I said, all right. And I try to play it cool, obviously. And so that was in New York. I have to take a train to get to New York, and it's like an hour train or whatever. And so I was coming back, and like I was like, I'll call him on Monday. Like it's Sunday, and I'm like texting this guy, like just sending him an email, like, yo, you said you wanted to talk to me. So he sent me like a test piece. I did a few test pieces, like a rocket raccoon. I think it's on my art station, and
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, and a Black
dope.
Panther. Thanks, man.
Looks
And thanks, man. Yeah, so then they hit me up with some work for the first Guardians movie. And it was package design, so stuff for posters and things that would be point of purchase. And then later on for Civil War.
I see.
So,
See,
yeah.
great experience. Great experience. I mean, working for Marvel, it's like one of the dreams of everybody in the design industry, concept, digital, anything. Everybody wants to work for Marvel. They made such a huge franchise that it's insane, and so many cool jobs there.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan. Like I've always been such a giant fan of Marvel that they could call me for anything and I'd stop what I was doing and work on it.
I'll be honest, before Marvel started in movies and stuff like that, I was a huge fan of DC. I still am a huge fan of DC, but I must say that Marvel is doing a much better job recently, except for the animated movies, which are still, I must say, better with DC.
Oh yeah, DC is killing it with the animated movies. Like
Yeah,
I wish that their live action was as good as the animated, because they really put everything into it. And I wonder if it has something to do with Bruce Timm kind of overseeing all those.
well, we will never know. It's politics and other stuff, what's happening there, but something is definitely happening. But I'm still a huge fan of theirs. Like some of the best characters ever made were
Yeah.
done by them. I hope that the movies will catch up and everything. There were some good Aquaman, for example. I really liked it. I know
Yeah,
it's a personal taste, but I really, really liked it.
I did. And I was surprised at how much I enjoyed Shazam. That was kind of dope too.
Shazam was also very good. Different, but very good, which is
Yeah,
always fun.
definitely.
So, how did the collaboration with Nike happen? That's what I want to know. I know you work with them. That must be a dope job
Oh,
working
man.
with them. So,
Yeah, yeah.
what
Yeah.
kind of stuff do you work on with them? What is it? Sculptures? If you can say, of course, you are under NDA. I understand everything.
Yeah. So no, with Nike, I did a project summer before last, I believe, where it was I had to take people who were like actors and personalities like tastemakers and paint them in a style that it was interesting because it kind of went back to my roots, which is airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
So I painted guys like Miles Brown, the little kid from Blackish, and these radio guys and like basketball players and stuff like that, and did them all in this style that was airbrush, but it was all done on the computer. So I use a program called Corel Painter, in addition to Photoshop, and it really lets me get something that looks a lot like it was done by hand. Like that's my whole thing. Like I've been working digital for probably, I don't know, like 25 years.
Yeah.
But I still am a giant fan of traditional. That's how I learned. So I want for all of my stuff to look like it's done outside the computer. And so, yeah, that's what I did for them, man. They came out nice. They were pretty happy with it.
I'm sure they were happy. I'm absolutely sure. By the way, when you said Coral Painter, I thought that nobody uses it. I mean, haven't heard it for a long time. I will tell you something. When I was studying car design, there was a guy,
Yeah.
Colombian guy from Pasadena. He came
Right.
there and he was using Coral Painter.
Yeah.
And he showed it to me. I tried it a little bit. It was much more, as you say, like your traditionally drawing. I never could get used to it, but he was also kicking some ass. His work was looking like pastel, like watercolor.
Right.
I really liked it, and I'm still wondering now. When you mentioned it, I completely forgot about it. Why people are still not using that much Coral Painter? Why they're not? I mean, there are so many traditional artists that can benefit from it.
Yeah. I get bummed out sometimes because I've been a Corel, like they have, everybody has their name for their people who kind of promote the product. So, Photoshop has what are like the evangelists, and it's always some pretentious name. Like we're Corel Painter Masters, which seems like a lot, but we just use the program. But yeah, like I've been one of their Painter Masters for, I don't know, like almost 10 years. And I go and talk with those guys all the time. I'm just like, man, why aren't you guys promoting to concept artists and people who are in the industry, because they're not getting the due that they deserve. I can guarantee you that.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And I'm thinking now in my head, illustrators, painters. I mean, many guys are always talking about how they can go from traditional to digital because they losing traditional. But I think Painter can help them with that. Unfortunately, I get lost with Painter, honestly, because I don't mix colors and stuff like that. So for me, it's a hassle. But
Yeah.
for others, I think it would be really, really good.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah.
The-
Well, one day we'll get in a session. We'll do a little Painter stuff. I'll get you loving it before we're done, man.
That's a deal. It's absolutely a deal. Here we are promoting them now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Sponsored by Corel.
Sponsored by Corel. DARMAR
Right.
stream with Mike. And I know that we talked about that, and that's how you started. You are 3D printing some crazy stuff now.
Oh, dude, man, I'm having a blast with it. So I don't know. Let's see if I can get it in the background.
Show it, please. Show it,
All right.
please. It's
All right.
insane.
All right, cool. So I got an Ender 5, which is right there.
Yeah.
And I love it. You can see I'm a fan of statues.
Mhm.
I got my Captain America back there, which Daniel Bell signed the shield. I took it all the way to Argentina, dude.
Where do you
That's-
live? What's your address? Okay, I'm joking.
Right? So I did this piece on my 5.
Your camera is twitching a little bit with lights. Maybe you should move it just a little bit because of the cable, I think. So,
Yeah, okay.
but it's already looking dope. Just I wanted to, so people see it perfect because it deserves.
All right, so this is a piece
Okay.
that
Look
I've
at this.
just finished. So this was done on the Ender 5. It's filament.
Yeah.
And it just kept all this detail. So the only reason that I decided to do this, and you can see how messy my apartment is, but the only reason I decided to do this was I saw Grassetti doing like Nova and Yoshimitsu, and it was
Yes.
so dope.
Mm-hmm,
And I was just like, let me try to do something. And the price point was crazy, right? So like, let's see if I can get it to focus on the ball here. But like if it did, like it keeps all the detail, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I love it. So this is Zion Williamson, and you can see I got the Z in his head and everything.
Mm.
But it just kept it all. So I love it, man. I'm a giant fan. I'm going to be printing everything now.
Yeah, that is some crazy stuff. Look at this, guys, how crisp it looks, and the design is dope. The pose really looks like he's gonna dunk any second.
Thanks, man.
It's a really good set. You did primer over it, if I remember when we talked.
Yes. Yeah, so what I did is I had to print everything as pieces, and then I put them together, and then I used like a wood filler putty,
Yeah.
which was gray, and filled it. There wasn't a whole lot of like touch post work to do, but you can see it came out really clean. Then I hit it with primer, and the thing about filament that's so much nicer even than resin, I think, is it's so light that it's only supported by his toe. Like I said, you can see like everything is floating.
Yeah.
So if I did this with resin, I would have to put like a support between his knee and here, or else the thing would just fall over. It'd be too heavy.
I never thought of that, but yeah, he's holding with his toe literally, like on the
Only
half of.
so.
Yeah. Crazy, crazy.
Yeah. So
But
yeah,
look at the detail of the shorts. So now when you zoomed it, I was like, what the fuck? Look at how many details it has, texture, everything.
yeah. Check it out. I even have like his he has like these compression shorts on underneath. I don't know if you can see those.
Yeah. Now, yeah, this is insane. This is some insane quality. And it's Ender 5 that we talked. I also have Ender 5. And
Yeah.
it's crazy for $400 what kind of quality you can get. Like
Right?
it's a little bit painful time that it takes.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit boring in the beginning.
Yeah, it does take time, but I mean, I guess it's going to do that with a form also. You know, it's just going to take time to print these pieces.
True. But when I was pumped when I just got it, I was like, yes. And now when I print something for more than a day, I'm like, no,
Right.
no.
Well, props to you, man, because if you hadn't had me go in and calm down on some of my settings, it would have taken me like weeks for this to print.
Yeah.
I had this thing set way too high, and you don't even have to, you know?
I have new settings for you. I will send you. And
Nice.
I have
Nice.
some new settings for even finer quality than I gave you. Like they sent me 3 days ago, so it's perfect that we are talking now.
Well,
I
you
will
know,
send you.
nice. Well, you know, I got to do this whole connect, so I'm definitely trying to do that. That would be great.
Like those settings are super important that we talked already about, and you need really to fine tune them because it's that balance between time and everything. Because I can't fucking listen to a printer that's working 7 days behind my back. So
Right.
but this profile is on a really high level. I will send it to you. I tested it. It's like you wouldn't believe what kind of details it prints.
Thanks, man. I'm also going to pull the trigger on that. What was it? 3D. What's the other?
Simplify 3D.
Simplify 3D. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to Paul Gabriel, and he was like, "Dude, that's the truth. Like, you got to get that."
Yeah, I have it, and this profile is for it. Trust me on that. Yeah, so it's really good.
Nice.
But yeah, you mentioned Rafael Grassetti. That's I love his artwork. I like his 3D prints. I like everything that he does. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's insane.
He's- Dude, his level of work, like there's certain people you'll meet who are there. I can't believe that they're that good, but also that they're that nice and humble, and like Grassetti and oh my God, I just had like a brain slip. Who did I say I just met?
With the bell, no?
Yeah. Daniel Bell. Like these guys are just the coolest guys ever, man. To be that good, it's crazy. So yeah, but
Yeah.
his Yoshimitsu was insane.
Yeah, he's selling their prints and stuff like that. I mean, it's insane. I met him on THU. I talked with him maybe 30 minutes or something like that. He was super nice. I really enjoyed every second of talking with him and watching his presentation about God of War.
Yeah,
So-
he's a beast, man.
So what you gonna print next? You said you're printing something next?
Yeah, so I'm gonna probably do this Hulk next. This is gonna be huge, so this is gonna take forever. I'm just trying to figure out.
Life size.
Yes. So if I mean, yeah, life size, right? Yeah. So if if this is, so I like the quarter scale because you're able to keep all the detail. So like if I'm printing him quarter scale, like he'll probably be just this tall, just standing. You know what I mean? So that's going to be what, like 26 inches or so tall. But yeah, man, I just got to figure out the cuts because the thing about Zion that was nice is because of his jersey, I could hide the seams between his arms and his shoulders. So yeah, I'll figure it out and do it. Dharma, are you still there? Uh-oh. You there? For some reason I can't hear you. Did it switch? Low.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Something happened with the mic for a second. I apologize. Every show it has to happen for 20 seconds. I don't know why. But
worries.
yeah, I'm talking about the cuts and everything. How do you think about them? That's what I want to ask you now. That's why I asked about 3D printing. I know that many people would like to hear about that.
Sure. So for like really, I just look for where it makes sense to hide the seams. So for this guy, it's probably going to be, easy place for his torso is cut at the jeans, like right inside of, where the shirt and the pants are. And then the legs, I can do the same thing for where the rips are. They're a little more complicated because they're irregular.
Mm-hmm.
But if I cut straight across on the inside and kind of have the pants slide over them, it should be easier to hide that seam.
I
So
see.
legs, yeah, so legs are not a problem. His arms, I mean, I'm just gonna have to suck it up. So with Zion, I cut I had this issue where with his arm, it did this thing where I would print it from the shoulder, so his arm is like it stops right here at the jersey. So I like laid it out so that it was straight up. So I got the bands to go straight up his arm.
Yeah.
But when I got to the fingers, because the overhang was so drastic, I always kind of had either a problem, not so much a failure, but it got ugly around the fingers. So I ended up chopping it right at the wrist, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't even see it. So the hand and the arm are separate on this, but like it's completely seamless.
Yeah.
So that's nice. So I guess what I'm going to do with the Hulk is the same thing. I'll just chop off his hands, probably do just a cut like around his, like right at where the pec and the shoulder are, and then just seam it together with some putty.
I see. I see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I want to ask you is, what do you think is the most important thing to be a digital sculptor? Is it a software? Is it some specific skill?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I never really sculpted before I started messing with ZBrush. So, and I've only been using it for 5 years, but I always have drawn and I've always painted. So I think you just need to, you got to be willing to, realize what your strengths and weaknesses are. And for me, it was always anatomy. Like I always thought I knew what the body looked like. So I was like, oh, you don't have to tell me anything. And then I went online and I was like, oh yeah, you suck. So, it's just getting better and better and taking the time to learn it. So that I think that's it. The software, I really like ZBrush for this kind of stuff, especially. I never really got into 3D software per se. So like I have Maya, and I use it for like UVs and things of that nature. But anything that's hard surface, like, if I was doing, I don't know, like I did a Thanos a while back. Let me see if I can open that. But that was done all using ZModeler. And let's see, Thanos.
ZModeler is becoming really, really good. Not becoming, it is already, and I'm thinking of trying it a little bit.
Oh, ZModeler is dope, dude. Yeah, you would kill in that.
Thanks. I will
Yeah.
try, definitely. Looks like a possibility for concept art and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So let's see if I can open this up. If this is the right one. Probably not. Let's see. I do like iterative saves, so I have like a million saves of things.
Smart.
Okay. Oh God, don't crash. Let's see.
What I love about ZBrush, when it crashes, takes me like 2 seconds to open it again. 2 literal seconds. That's what I like about Blender, what I like about ZBrush.
Definitely. There was a lot of people who were like the students were asking me about Blender, and I see I'm getting choppy. Can you even still hear me?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my video looks like it froze.
Because of the Dynamesh, yeah.
Yeah. It's not even that heavy. Look at that. It's only 7 million points total.
But let me check. Yeah, the screen is working still, but yeah.
Yeah. ZBrush just froze.
Yeah,
All right, well, I'll just talk while I'm doing it.
Here it's done. So now it's working good. Yeah, always when I'm listening to music, I hate when I do Dynamesh on a big sculpt and it starts blocking. Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Is it? Oh, you know why? Oh, it's not supposed to be doing Dynamesh at all. Why is it doing that? Turn that off. Okay.
I like how your menu is very customized. As I can see, it's very, very different than the normal menu.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. This is just showing you the parts for this, right? So this is an example of the cuts, right?
Nice.
Everything is, And I like to use their live boolean to make cuts.
Yeah.
So everything is kind of set up and it does really clean, clean intersections. But let me load the one that is together. Let's see, model, print this. This is the one, I think. So yeah, this is ready to go to the printer right now, actually. Maybe I'll print this next.
Could be very cool. It looks dope. Can be very cool.
Thanks. This actually got me on ZBrush Central, so I was pretty happy with this one.
Oh, awesome. It deserves definitely to be on a ZBrush Central. I love it. Again, high quality work.
Thanks, man.
But it was a Z remodel. It wasn't a sculpt.
No. This was a sculpt, but I did the hard surface stuff with Z Modeler. So
I see.
all of the gauntlet and his shoulders and helmet, everything was done using. I just had like a cube that I went in and kind of manipulated points, and then I got rid of faces and pulled out edges and stuff like that.
Yeah. So technically, it's like modeling in Maya. If you guys don't know how it is, not Maya, just in any other software, it's a pull and push and pull.
Yeah. But for somebody like me that never really, because I never really wrapped my mind around the Z-axis so much, you know what I mean? So it was great learning in here because with ZBrush, it kind of feels like I'm drawing rather than sculpting. So yeah.
I always say that 2.5D, it's amazing. I love it. That's why ZBrush is super nice for concepting and stuff like that.
Definitely.
You don't have to think about the technicality and you just move, which is also Blender, I must say, now that I'm using. We need to say hello to Jerry. Hey Jerry, box cutter, hard ops.
Master Xeon, what's up?
Master Xeon,
yeah. So one day I will learn it because I think I'm actually the perfect candidate for Blender because, like I said, I'm not too attached to the proper 3D software, so I'm not really tied down to the key commands for everything else, you know what I mean? Like, Maya and Max and all that. So yeah, I'll learn one of these days.
I think you would be a great candidate. I think you would do really, really good.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'll try it. I got to. And then Jerry's killing it with the add-on, so I have to finally try him out.
Add-on is more important than Blender, if you ask me.
I hear that.
yeah, it is really good. It is box cutter. I mention it in every episode. Box cutter, hard ops, and batch ops are like super nice, and they are saving my life literally.
Dude, I told people when I was in Peru, I had somebody ask me about Blender, and it was a big crowd. And I was telling them, I was like, oh, I know the guy that worked on that developed hard ops and box cutter. And people went crazy. They're like, oh, you know that guy? I was like, yeah, it's my boy.
Well, yeah, I can imagine like the crowd going crazy. And Jerry, I can imagine if the Jerry was there, he would be sitting comfortably and very calm in the corner.
He'd just be taking it in. Definitely.
But what I want to know, what did students ask the most? Because you went to many different countries in South America and you had with so many people. It was all over social media. I was following it all the time. I was super happy for you that it was happening. And what were the main questions and problems that students had in South America, considering concept art and in digital art and VFX and other stuff? What were their main questions?
It was great because the questions that they had, even though like I didn't come from a concept art background, but we all kind of have the same, as artists, we all kind of have the same problems and hurdles to get over. So one of them that I got from virtually every lecture was people wanted to know, I see a lot of stuff on like ArtStation and all these other social media outlets where people are way better than I am. And, how do I know I'm good enough to do this? Or, why should I keep doing this? Even for other students that they look at, fellow classmates, they're like, this guy's better than me. Should I stick with it? I don't know. Mm-hmm. And like as an artist, we always feel that way, right? Like I think that that's part of what makes artists great is our insecurities. Yeah. So I would hear that and I'd be like, listen, I always felt the same thing. When I was in high school, there was always a kid better than me. But I just knew that I loved doing it. So I just stuck with it. And, for a long time I wasn't good. And then one day, I kind of was. So it's one of those things where it sounds kind of corny, but you have to persist and you have to constantly, just always strive to be better. You know what I mean? Like I do know artists that they think they've arrived. You know what I mean? Like they do this one thing and it works for them, so they just do it over and over again. I think that's crazy, man. Like you're always learning. Like you stop learning when you're dead. So that's what I was telling them, and they kind of really like that. The fact that I was a lot like they were, and we're all pretty much the same. It doesn't matter if you're Grassetti or Daniel Bell or Darmar or me. Like we all kind of have days where we're like not feeling our stuff too. Even now. That's another thing. Like I'll have days where I'm looking at my piece and I'm like, ugh, but
Yeah.
you gotta push through it. Like that thing that Ryan Kingsland says, pushing through the valley of the suck.
True. True.
And that kind of differentiates the good artist from the great artist. Like a good artist will be like, nah, I'm done. I'm just gonna throw this piece away and start again. Whereas, you and I might just keep chipping away at it, even though we hate it until we love it. So
Yeah,
that's one.
true. I always say there has to be some pain involved, and
Yeah.
people don't like pain, especially not emotional pain. I think I can even easier handle physical pain when somebody is punching me than emotional pain. And art is emotional, and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need to get used to that. It's gonna hurt a little bit from time to time.
Yeah.
Maybe not always. Maybe 25 days out of 30 in the month.
Yeah.
So it is painful. It is painful. It can be very painful, emotionally draining.
Yeah.
But it's the only way to go. Consistency, hard work, and smart thinking. That's the only way to go. It's always I compare it with minimalism. So minimalism sounds very easy,
Mhm.
minimalistic, but it's the hardest thing to do. Hardest thing to do, and it always be hardest thing to do.
That's true. I was just talking to somebody about this with the Marvel movies. I was just like, they, even with the writing in it and the directing in it, they always have just enough to convey the point, and it's not filler. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I go see movies sometimes, and there's all this extra stuff to just check it off the box list. You know what I mean? And it's bullshit. Like with Marvel, you go see Endgame or Infinity War, and even though it's 3 hours long, like they need everything that's in that movie to convey the point. To me, so that's how I feel with art too. You can. If you don't have, that was the other thing that they would ask about is like, I tell them that the fundamentals are really important. So doing things like making sure that your anatomy is right before you start detailing makes a lot of sense. You can have something that's wonky, but you go and detail it and you have all these, skin pores and wrinkles, and you go and do all the clothing and everything, and it still is going to look whack, because it's
Yeah.
like you have a good foundation. So yeah, it's a lot of that. What was the other thing? The other big question that I got while I was over there was just knowing when a piece is done was a big one,
Yeah.
And I would tell them that when I was younger, I used to watch Bob Ross. Are you familiar with Bob Ross?
Of course. Of
Of
course.
course, everybody is, right?
Let's paint some little clouds.
Dude, happy little trees, exactly. So, yeah, like Bob Ross, man, was like the dopest guy ever. When I was young, I would watch him on TV. And first of all, I'd never seen a white man with what's such a righteous afro before.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about that. Yeah.
Best afro ever, man. So, yeah, and then he had this like soothing voice you want to listen to. And he was dope. So, that's the other thing. Like he would just paint and he would stop when he was done. And as an artist, kind of learning my way, I would always go, and just put as much down as I could. And like you're talking about minimalism, it's exactly that. Like you have to know when to stop, and that's something that takes time to learn. So, yeah,
For example, you can't see that much that in 3D, but when it comes to illustration, you can see people overdoing it. That's where the eye sees it the easiest, like when there is too many strokes, too many colors, too many everything. You're trying to make, we call that in car design Frankenstein, when you have too much stuff happening. So it's always that cohesive, simple shape. It's same in art, it's same in sculpture and everything. And I think that it takes time. It takes really, really time and knowledge to know when to stop.
Definitely. I would paint, when I first started painting digitally, I would go so much, like I would go so hard. The simple fact that you can zoom in completely, infinitely, I'd be detailing and detailing and detailing, and I thought I was killing it, man. And then when I was done, I'd zoom out, and one of my coworkers, when I was working at Echo, they like walked over and they're like, "Oh man, that's cool." They're like, "Yeah, what filter did you use?" It's like, dude, I spent weeks painting this.
Oh
So
my god! Oh my god! Like,
I thought it was a filter. So
oh my god! So you need to stab them immediately. Like what?
yeah, I was like, "Yeah, no, let me go back and rethink my whole process."
Less is more. Less is more,
Exactly.
definitely. But to learn it, it's very hard.
Yeah, yeah. It takes time. You got to be patient. That's another thing. No, I mean, I hate to sound like the old dude, but kids today, my son, like, none of them have any patience at all, dude. They want it now. Like, that's it. So,
Yeah, everybody wants it now, immediately, in the one
yeah,
second, which is okay. It's their choice. But fast mobile phones, everything, and I caught myself a couple of times when I don't have when I don't have a phone, how angry I get because I don't get it immediately.
yeah,
But art definitely takes time.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
It takes so much time to master it, and we are looking at the art station every day where you see thousands of images being produced and artists saying, "I did this in 50 seconds," and other artists come, they want to reproduce it but don't understand that they need 10, 15 years of experience to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do
Yeah.
you cope with that when you see that amount of crazy work on ArtStation?
I try to. So this is the thing about ArtStation. I love ArtStation and I hate ArtStation.
Nah.
I love it because for somebody like me who works in a studio all day, every day, right? I'm not around other people. I've been freelance probably since 2003. So, if it weren't for being in, the Discord and talking to you and everybody else, or being on the chats before that,
Yeah.
I would not talk like all day long unless I'm talking to clients.
Mm.
So ArtStation is great because, if you get into a bubble of doing your own work and you don't see what's going on around you, it's very easy to get stagnated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would hop online, and in the morning, first thing I do, I'd go to ArtStation, check out what's popping. I gave myself a time limit. Like, I can only stay on here for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Smart.
Yeah, because if not, I'll be on there all damn day.
Mm.
And the same thing with Pinterest. Pinterest is really evil because it's got it's so dope, but then they're like, "Oh, you like this thing? Here's 1,000 more things like this that you like." I'm like, "Oh, you're an asshole, man." So like the next thing you know, it's like hours later, and I'm still on Pinterest. So that's not good. But yeah, I just have to limit my time.
But
The
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry for interrupting. But
No,
about
no.
Pinterest, to comment that it's evil, it's truly evil. It's really evil, And
It is. It shouldn't be that good, man. It shouldn't be that good. But yeah, ArtStation, I love seeing the stuff, and especially like so at first I was like, there's a lot of people who are way younger than me who are really, really dope. You know what I mean? So I got nervous at first about that. I'm like, okay, these guys are a little too good. But the thing about ArtStation that's great is, if you're somebody like me who's always trying to get better and better, it's good to look at that and get inspired. I could see something by an artist who's sculpted something that has like all this ridiculous detail.
yeah.
And but it has everything. Like it runs down the line. Like, it's a great pose, the anatomy's on point, the subject matter is dope. And then something that I struggle with is the base, right? Figuring
Yeah.
out a good base. And they'll even have like a killer base. So I'm like, okay, let me look at this guy. I'm gonna follow this dude. I'm gonna check out what he's doing. I'm not necessarily gonna copy him, but this guy is definitely going the inspiration file. So it's good for that.
Or find him where he lives and kill him and finish with that.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
idea.
Absorb his power into my own.
Our station for stalking.
Exactly.
Yeah, when
Exactly.
you open ArtStation, there is some insane amount of work. We know this guy, Adam Gurazzi, I always say his name. Like, dude is 23, 24. He's working at some insane level with the design and everything, robotics. It's insane.
Yeah.
And one more scary thing is that recently I found that ArtStation has 400,000 members.
Oof. Yeah.
400,000. So I always thought it was a small industry, maybe 25, 30,000. But can you imagine how many people are there if there is 40,000?
That's why, like, so
400,000, sorry, 400,000.
it's just insane because like there'll be days that I'll post something up, right? And it might be trending. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm trending. And then I'll look back like 5 minutes later, my shit is pushed all the way off the board. Like nothing stays for any length of time because there's so many people, you know?
Yeah.
That's good. That's, you know, it's good.
It is good and bad.
It's good and bad, exactly.
Yeah. So we have one question. I want to ask you this before I continue with other stuff. What is harder for you, Mike? Sculpting, texturing, or rigging? I don't think you do rigging. So
yeah. So I don't rig. I know people who are really good at that. For me, I would say probably the sculpt or the texturing part.
Yeah.
Only because like I really, and this is going to sound insane to people who listen to your show, but like I hate UVs. I really don't like doing them, and I guess it's because I'm not like a real 3D dude.
Same here.
But but you need them. I mean, you know you need them. Like you can't even go into Substance Painter without them. So getting really clean UVs has always been challenging for me. But once I do have them, I do, you know, I have fun with the texturing part. But like if I could, man, I would sculpt all day long. Like even like this, not this one right here. So like this is just the kind of the just sketch phase where I'm just using the clay buildup. Like this is so fun for me, man. Like this is relaxing working on this kind of stuff. So I could do this all day long if I could. I would do it all day long.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody of us has something that they like to do and something that they don't like to do. But best artists in the world do what they don't like to do.
You're right. You're right about that.
They push themselves to learn that thing because they know if they don't have it, they will never learn. I was really bad at line sketching, I can honestly tell you now. And that was super bad. I could do it with values and stuff like that and see everything and show the design. But then I realized I need to learn how to sketch. I need to learn how to sketch. And now it's one of the best skills that I have, and it's the most recognizable. When you see my sketch, you see it's my style. And I sucked completely at it, like literally sucked. I hated it, but now I love it the most.
Yeah, I was like that with faces and then with anatomy. Like that was always really weak for me.
And now it looks dope. So it's all hard work.
It is. Put in the hours.
Yeah. Can you show us some sculpt from the beginning to the end so we see a little bit process, how it changes?
Yeah, totally. Let's see.
Whichever you would like to.
Yeah, let's see if I can find this one. I think this is earlier. That's the other thing, man. I save these things with such weird names that they look like I don't know what's what. All right, so this was, All right. So this one, if we hide, let's hide this part. I did a version where he was running, and then I did this. So you can see that went from looking like this, oops, looking way smaller. That was another thing. So I really had an issue with sizing in ZBrush.
I see.
Until they came out with like, what's it called? The Scale Master, I think.
Yeah.
Dude, my stuff I would have things that I thought were all the same size, and one thing would be this big, and then the other would be like a mile tall or whatever. But yeah, so like when this started, I thought that the one on the left was almost done, and then I went in and completely redid it to keep working. But let me see if I can find something that's a little more extreme.
When you're posing the character we talked about, do you use Death 3D or Poser for reference, or you just pose it by looking at the photos on internet?
So I started, before I used ZBrush, I used to use Poser.
Yeah.
And then I use Daz, what is it, the Daz 3D, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing before I knew how to use ZBrush. When I started using that, I just kind of, I used Transpose Master.
Mm-hmm.
And like stuff was really wonky at first. But, you know, obviously I just kept doing it until it was a little better. Let me see if I can find something that has like a bad pose. I'm
now doing for my Inside 44, I'm posing two characters and I want to kill myself. Possibly with something that would hurt a lot. So
Mm.
because I'm so annoyed by it, I don't know how to do it. I can cheat and paint over it when the arm bends and it goes through his head,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do that. I want to have a good pose.
Yeah. So, all right, all right, so one of the first things I did in ZBrush was Wolverine,
Yeah.
and I thought that I had a good pose, but the more I look at it, I really don't like it. So let's see if I can open this up here. And the size is going to be completely different, I'm sure. Yeah, look at that. He's huge.
Yeah, he is really huge.
Yeah. So, oh my God. All right, so I thought this was because I was looking at it like this, right? And I was like, oh, this works. This pose is fine. But then when I rotate around him, like it just, I don't know, it doesn't feel like he's actually doing what he's supposed to do. This to me is an example of a pretty crappy pose. And anatomy too, like is real suspect on this because this was like the first time I started doing anything.
Yeah.
But so like that's that. Let me see if I can find a better. Did I do another one? So one that's more recent is, oh wait, let's copy this. All right, let's open something else. So I started working on this one that I was doing for ZBrush Live called, it was the He-Man Trapjaw.
Yeah.
And it's a little, I think it's a little better. Let's see. A little more dynamic. So Ramel Chopra is another one of those guys that I was talking about. Like he's super young and like very, very humble dude, but his work is crazy. He's the one that did that Lobo with the dolphins.
I know. It's insane. It's
oh my
insane.
God. Yeah.
By the way, speaking about him, I'm glad that you mentioned him. We talked 6 days ago. He sent me a message that he wants to meet me on THU. And
Nice.
Unfortunately, he didn't get the fucking visa and he couldn't come.
Oh man.
So big shout out to this artist. Please guys, check his work because guy deserves every attention and I'm super sad that he didn't get the visa and we couldn't meet each other.
Yeah. Ramel is so dope, man.
Yeah, he does some insane stuff. But that sculpture of yours is dope. Like,
thanks, man.
56 million polygons if I can see good.
Yeah, totally.
Look at all the details, Jesus.
Yeah. This one is one of those ones where it's like you can see that definitely much later in my sculpting career, right? This was that the Wolverine was first. This was like I think the end of last year. But just even things like making the veins feel more like they're under the skin.
Yeah.
Was a little more successful with this. Now I struggle with like what you probably find pretty damn easy, but like hard surface stuff, I'm clueless. So I was trying to figure out his arm, and I thought it was looking good until I looked at it and it felt like the claw part looks like a toucan to me. Right? It looks like a bird neck or whatever. So I'm like,
like a dino T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll have to revisit that. That's the only reason why I haven't put a period on this sentence. But yeah, the body I was happy with, and Jerry actually helped me with the boots.
Really?
Yeah, so I was working on these boots for a while, and he looked at them and was like, "Dude, let me throw these in not box cutter. What's the other one called?
Hard ops.
Yeah, he said, let me throw these in hard ops. So he did it. And then he was like, yeah, yours is not so good. So he just completely redid it from scratch. and in I think 15 minutes gave me these boots back. So I was like, oh, thanks, dude. So I did like the cushion and everything.
Yeah.
This is actually a collabo.
They're very dope. The whole piece looks dope. You said that the arm needs a little bit work. I do agree on that, but everything looks dope.
Thanks, man.
You haven't posted this still online.
No, because I never really finished it. I abandon a lot of stuff, dude. And like I usually get 99% of the way done, and then I'm like, just put it down and forget about it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's okay. But this should be definitely finished. I love the vibe of this. Like it's really good, man. Really good.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's really good. Maybe the arm, just a different pose and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's dope. Look at the details that it's on it, especially around the skull and the cushions and everything. Were they in ZBrush or Marvelous?
No Marvelous in this. This is
No
all
Marvelous.
just ZBrush. Yeah.
You
So
sculpted everything there. You sculpted this cushion on his legs, everything.
yes, yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
this was so I have an alpha that does a little bit of this.
Yeah.
So I just kind of use that and then I went in and sculpted on top of it. But that's what I like to do. Like one of the things I really like is sculpting cloth. Like I really enjoy it for some reason. So those Hulk pants that you were looking at, that's not Marvelous either. This is all done in ZBrush.
Damn.
Yeah. So you can see, and like in the back, you can tell I haven't gotten as far through it as I have on the front. But so like you see, I just kind of built it up with the clay buildup tubes, like clay buildup. But yeah, when I'm done, man, it's gonna look totally like jeans.
Yeah,
So
that's like respect for that. I didn't know that was not a Marvel's designer, man.
nah,
That's insane that you can sculpt this kind of stuff.
thanks, man.
How long does it take you to do one of these sculptures?
All right, so the pants almost killed me, the little fur part.
Okay.
That's hard for me. Like so doing hair and doing, this kind of stuff is difficult for me, the fur.
Yeah.
But the building up the anatomy and everything, I think I have it in layers for his skin too, so I have it without the stitching. Let's see if I can put it on. Yeah. All right, look, it's still recording. I've never like mastered the idea of turning off a recording when I'm done with the layers. All right, so let's turn that off. Let's see what it looks like if I turn these off. Yeah, like, so you can see like all this detail starts to go away.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And they give so much character. They give so much character. That last 10% that gives so much character to the sculpture.
Definitely. Yeah. It's the little, like, dude, so sculpting for me, like, even like the stretches and stuff around where it's kind of pulling at his chest, like, that stuff is fun, man. It's almost like a puzzle, Like, just figuring out those little details makes it feel so much nicer.
Yeah.
You can see even I went in and readdressed the vein in his bicep. But yeah, like that stuff is really, it's almost like it's cathartic, man. It's really relaxing for me to sculpt. I think because I've been painting for a living for so long, this is the fun part, man. Just doing this kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I'm happy that you show this because it really shows how much personality the sculpt gets. Like that last 10% are the most important if you want to have high-end concept and be differentiated from every other artist on ArtStation. That's what brings it up,
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you're right. Like I get stuck in the weeds sometimes. So like I'm detailing. Like my friend I was telling you about earlier, Brad, was going to 3D print the Hulk for me. And he has access, he's a teacher, so he has access to a Form 3. And he's like, dude, let me have it. And I'm like, I'm almost done. He's like, the school year's over. It's too late. I'm just like, oh, shit. Okay.
How many? 8 months passed, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I'm still not done. So he's just like, man, whatever, man.
Man, we'll get a new printer. I will come then.
Yeah, exactly.
You're waiting for the right kind of technology. That's the answer.
This is true. Yeah, I'm waiting for the Form 7.
Form 7.
Right.
I want to ask you, will you be anywhere on any kind of festival this year where people can see you?
So I wanted to go to the ZBrush summit. I keep wondering if they're going to ask me to go because I've been doing ZBrush Live for them for like 2 years now. But I'll go one of these days. But I think before that, I'll be going to Comic-Cons.
Nice.
And I'm actually working on something with Wacom to try to be at all of them. So, it's in the works right now.
Nice.
Thanks.
Well, I hope that goes good. And last question, so we can wrap this up, is what is your advice for any young artist out there, and how do you think that they can enter this industry?
So definitely, this is another one of those questions I got at while I was on tour, man. So definitely, um, don't try to judge yourself by what other people are doing. Right? You have to do basically what's right for you, and you have to be comfortable with your work. At the end of the day, you have to be able to sleep with with yourself and your level of skill. So if you know that you're not where you want to be, just keep practicing and practicing and practicing. And like just realize that, the best artists started off the same way that everybody else does, and that goes for everything. Like, Tiger Woods, well, not Tiger Woods.
He is an artist. He is an artist.
Oh, well, I was gonna say Tiger Woods couldn't play golf when he was little, but he totally could play golf when he was little. So that's a bad example. But Michael Jordan wasn't always Michael Jordan. So you gotta just keep at it, and don't your stuff is gonna suck, man. Like that, all of our stuff is not where we want it all the time, but you have to push through that. So, and for somebody getting into the industry, I would just say build up a really good ArtStation page or Instagram page. Put your best work on there, and take out the filler. That was the thing I had a really hard time with as an illustrator early on. Is my portfolio and figuring out what should and shouldn't go in there.
Yeah.
But ask your friends. Like, what do you think about this? Constantly ask what people like and what they don't like, and don't be married to anything. Like, be willing to pull anything out and keep the strongest work, and then you can hashtag it and get it in front of whoever you want to see. So that's what I'd say.
Don't get married. That's a smart thing about how you said it about the art, because people tend to get married to the art, and then they start to suffer because don't get detached too much. Emotional. We are emotional creatures, and we need to understand that it changes. It really changes.
Yeah. And what we might think is great, maybe somebody else doesn't think it's good, and they might have a really good point,
Yeah. So yeah, guys, that was episode 23. Amazing Mike Thompson and his work. I really enjoyed this talk, Mike.
Thanks, brother. Me too.
Thank you for all the comments and all the things that you showed us. I really like your sculptures and enjoy the work, and I hope that you will be doing it faster so you can print it more.
Yeah, definitely.
Before the Formlabs 7, 8.
Right.
I can't wait to see your new stuff.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Have a great day, guys. Have a great day, Mike. And I will see you on a Discord channel that we will talk later.
Yeah. Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm going to have you one more time for sure to talk about other stuff.
Cool. All right, man.
Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Peace.